Perfect. So I am live. I'm just going to go to hatchxr.com. I'm just ensuring that you guys are able to hear me. So let me just check. Let me just check on my phone the streaming thing. 1 second. Perfect. Um, Let me just check if it's streaming from my if it's streaming correctly on my phone or not. So where is the link? YouTube. Yeah, I get it. I'm audible. I'm just checking it once on my system here. So yeah, cool. So I guess I'm audible. Uh, I am. So yeah, people are saying that I'm audible. Good. Thank you. And we have it's almost start time. So what in the time that I'm streaming, I'm just give me. Cool. So yeah, I'll teach you guys how to play Minesweeper as well. I'm just checking something. So my YouTube was saying that there was no data received. It was receiving, but it's working fine. Okay, awesome. So good evening, everyone. Good evening, and we can start. Okay. So this is part 2 of how to create your own Minesweeper game. All right, but since there were some technical issues in the part 1 video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a recap of everything that we did in session 1 and then continue with the things that were left for the today's part. Okay, so I'm going to completely start from scratch a Minesweeper game, and let's see. Let me show you guys how we'll be able to create it. I need another device to connect on my laptop. Give me 1 minute. Cool. I just needed to connect one device. Sorry. Let me just check if I'm. Yep, I am streaming perfectly fine. Okay, cool. So, welcome everyone. Let's start now. Okay, so I'm sorry for rambling for 3 minutes without giving any context. So I was just connecting another device to my system so that I could today's session can be more smooth. And I am expecting my audio to be crystal clear today. So that is also done. And what I said was in the previous part, there were some technical issues. So I'm going to cover everything that we did in part 1 as well as new concepts for today. Okay. And we are going to be building a Minesweeper game. So let me show you what a Minesweeper game does. Okay. First of all, so Minesweeper game, you guys must have played. I'm not sure if it's an old game, so I'm not sure if you guys have played it or not, but it's an old Windows game that was very common when Windows 98, Windows 95, Windows 2000, Windows XP, those things came out. Okay, so I'm just going to show you guys this game. Okay, cool. So I've opened up my game here. This is the entire code of it. I'll explain how everything. Wait, no, this is part 1. Sorry, I should be going to the complete game. So this is the Minesweeper game, the entire code of it. Okay, and let me just show you guys how this works. So when I run the script, I click on the scene and I get a grid of boxes. Okay, so I get a grid of boxes. Now what I have to do is I have to click on these boxes. Okay, so when you click on a box, you get something happens in the game. What happens is, so the idea is behind some of these boxes there are bombs hidden. Okay, and what you have to do is you have to open up the entire space. You have to open up all the boxes except for the ones in which there are bombs. So you have to find out without clicking on the boxes that contains the bombs, you have to figure out which boxes contain the bombs. And to do that, the logic in the game, the way it works is, so when you click on a box, if it has a bomb, like right now I know that this box has a bomb. If I click on it, it disappeared here, and all the other bombs that were there in this playground disappeared as well, and I have lost the game. Okay, but if you click on a box that does not have a bomb, okay, so if you click on a box that does not have a bomb, then two things happen. One is, I'm just going to open up my whiteboard for now, and I'm just going to open up a new whiteboard. Cool. So I'm just going to explain you how this game works. Okay, so yeah, let's start with a red color. Cool. So what happens is, this game has a grid of boxes. I am drawing very clumsily right now, but so you get the idea, right? There's a grid of boxes. Now what happens is, you have a grid now. Yeah, so you have a grid of boxes. Now if you click on a box, so when you click on a box, see, the box either has a bomb or not. Okay, has a bomb and does not have a bomb. Cool. So if the box has a bomb, then what happens? Then your game is over. So if you clicked on a box that has a bomb, then the game is over. Okay, now if you click on a box that does not have a bomb, we have to figure out the logic of what is supposed to happen here. Okay, so when if you look at the grid of boxes, you will see that all of these boxes are surrounded by more boxes. Okay, so what happens is, I have a box and it is surrounded by, how many boxes are surrounding one box? So you have 3 on the top, you have 2 on the sides, and you have 3 on the bottom again. Okay, so now what's going to happen is, yes, exactly, correct. So somebody just messaged that there are 8 boxes surrounding one box. Yeah, so except for the top row, top, bottom, left and right rows, all the other boxes have 8 neighbors around it. So if this box does not have a bomb, then this will show a number here. Okay, a number will be displayed inside this box. And what will that number be telling you? That number will be telling you, sorry, Yeah, this is working. Something fell, but yeah, it seems to be working fine. Okay, so yeah, as I was telling you guys that, yeah, this number here will be telling you out of these 8 boxes, how many boxes have a bomb. So if it tells you that the number here is 1, it means that no, you have to, this is what you have to guess. This is how you'll, let me show you. So somebody asked, how do we know which has a bomb, which has a not? I'll show you, because we are going to make the game, so you will learn eventually how this game works. So see, let's say this box has a number 1, okay? It means that out of these 8 surrounding boxes, only 1 has a bomb, okay? Only 1 has a bomb and the remaining do not have a bomb, okay? It can go from, the number here can go from 0 to 8. All right, so does not have a bomb. Then we count. What do we do first thing? First thing is we count how many boxes around this box has a bomb. So if the count is greater than 0 and if the count is equal to 0, two separate things happen. So if the number of bombs is 1 to 8, then we just show the number here in the box. Show number in the box. Wow, my writing is so bad. Okay, I hope you guys are able to follow what's happening here. I'm so sorry for it. Yeah, it can be 2, 3, 4, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It can be any of these numbers. If the count is 0, what happens is we do not show a number 0 on the box. Okay, what it does is, if the count is 0, see, I'm going to show you in the game. I'm going to restart my game here and I click on my game. One box appeared. So when I clicked on it, when I clicked on a box that did not have any bombs around it as well, if the count was 0 and it did not have a bomb inside itself as well, then it opens up the surrounding boxes as well. So it tells, the idea is that if the count is 0, then open up this box, open up, yeah. So if the count is 0, if this box has a count of 0, basically none of its neighbors has a bomb, then open up all of these boxes, okay? Open up all of these boxes and show what number is present, show how many bombs are around those neighboring boxes, okay? So now these boxes will in itself have 8 neighbors. Count for them how many bombs are there and show the number here, okay? And similar for these. For all of these 8 boxes, show what number of bombs are around these boxes, okay? That is going to happen. And if any of these do not have any bombs around them, their count is 0, then keep on opening up the this field till you encounter boxes with some number. So you see here, when I click on this box, it kept on opening up all of these boxes with all the zeros till they encountered boxes that had some numbers. The moment you found numbers, you stopped opening up boxes after it. Okay, that's what happens in the game. So now, somebody was asking, how do we know which one has a bomb and not? So now see, this box tells me, this number 1 here tells me that of the 8 surrounding boxes, only 1 box has a bomb. We know that the remaining 7 have been opened. So we know that this box definitely has a bomb. Okay, definitely has a bomb. Now you see this box has a bomb. That means that when I look at this one here, we have 2 unopened boxes for this one. And this one is telling me that of these 2 boxes, only 1 box has a bomb. And I know that this box already has a bomb. That means that this box does not have a bomb. So if I click on it, it will just open up and then show me that yes, this was the only one box that had a bomb around this. So based on a combination of numbers around it, you have to figure out which boxes have the bomb and which boxes do not. Okay, good. So now that I've explained to you the logic of it, so see here, what did we do? What did we do? If the count is 0, then what we are going to do is we are basically going to do the reveal this part of our flowchart is going to happen again and again and again and again for all my neighboring boxes. That's it. So this is a concept called recursion that you will be learning in your classes, and that we'll be using here as well. Okay, so now I have showed you guys the game. Okay, so someone is asking me to speak loudly. Am I audible right now? So yeah, it's a bit complex. That's why we are doing it in parts. Okay, even today we are not going to complete the entire game. Okay, but today I'm going to show you how most of the game works. All right, so let's begin. I'm going to open up a new project, completely new project, and we are going to start. So we have this, and I hope I'm audible. Let me just check. My audio is audible here. Perfect. Cool. So now I do not want any unpublished project, and let's start. So I'm opening up a blank HatchXR page. You guys can see this. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a few things in my scene. I don't want to design anything here. So I'm going to remove all the components here. And what I'm going to do is I just need one box. So I'm going to add one box. I want the box to be at 0, 0, and 0. Okay. Now I want this box to be a bit smaller. So I'm going to make it size 0.4546. I like even numbers. Cool. 0.46 and 0.46. So my box has become smaller. Let me modify its materials. So I'm going to make it a bit gray in color, and I'm going to make it completely rough so that it does not reflect light. And now I want my player to be able to see this. So I'm going to move my player to a position behind. So position at Z5. Okay. And I'm going to make the camera in Y position 0. So it's completely looking at the center. And there is also a cursor here. I want the cursor to be mouse based because I'm going to use the mouse pointer to click on boxes and not that VR cursor, that circular black cursor that comes in a VR project. Okay, this is going to be a 3D project, so we need our mouse pointer. Now we have a box. Remember, we also need to display a text inside some of the boxes. So I'm just going to add one text 2D text layer as well, and I'm going to position it at 0, 0, and 0 as well. Now 0, 0, 0. Let me just go closer to it. Yeah, cool. So now this is, now if the text is inside the box, then it will not be visible. So I'm just going to move the text slightly in front. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to make the text, sorry, not the box. I'm going to keep the box at 0, 0, 0. I'm going to move the text a bit in front. Yes. And I'm going to move the Y position, make the Y position smaller, make the font size of it smaller, make it up. So see, if the box is at 0, my text is at minus 0.16. Okay. And it's, I'll make it white as well initially, and I'll keep it at 0. The text displayed, I'll keep it at 0, and I will not keep it visible. I'm just going to, actually, I'm going to do one small thing. I'm going to make, when my box is at 0.4 scale, then what is this position? Yeah, so this is where I want my text to be. And let's put the box back to 1 scale and invisible. I will make my box invisible as well. I'll make my text invisible as well. I don't want anything to be visible in the design mode here. So two things I did: I added a box, I added a text, I made them smaller, adjusted the sizes, and made them invisible in the game. So in the design mode, there is nothing present. Okay, cool. So now 0.45 just okay. Somebody's asking, why did I make the boxes size 0.45? So because I have designed this game earlier, so I'll be able to tell you. So what I wanted to do was, look in my game here, I wanted the space. So one box has a width of 0.45 and I'm giving them a space of 0.05. So basically one box is occupying 0.5 units of volume, even though it has 0.45 unit length. Okay, to give the gap, I want each of the boxes to occupy half a meter of space in the length, width, and depth wise. But to give them space, I wanted there to be some space. So rather than just having my box to be of 0.5 units in length, I'm making my box to be of 0.45 units in length, but the size that I'm going to define in my code will be 0.5. And as a result, there will be an inherent gap between all the boxes. You will see in the code. Okay, cool. So nothing is there in my design mode here. I go to the code window. Okay, so now in my last class, in the last video, I told you guys what JavaScript objects are. And I hope you, the JavaScript objects I'm not going to explain again. You will there will be more videos in which I will get the chance to explain what JavaScript objects are. I'm just going to show you guys how a JavaScript object is created. Almost everything in JavaScript is an object. Okay, so the way to define a JavaScript. So what we are doing is, see, I'm going to show you here. So what we are doing is see this grid of boxes here. Now this grid of boxes, all of these boxes, they have some data. Okay, what data do they have? They have some data stored about their X position, their Y position, their position in the grid, so their index. So they are all going to be in an array. So the index of their array I comma j, and then what we are going to be storing is a count of the number of bombs around it. Yeah, that is going to be stored inside this in each of these cells, and whether they have a bomb or not. Okay, and there will be some more data. So all of these boxes are going to have some data stored in them. So what we are going to do is, these are all going to be JavaScript objects. We are going to create a class called cell, and we are going to, in each cell, we are going to store these values. Okay, each cell is going to have these properties. Like, so this is what I mean by JavaScript object. We did JavaScript object last class, so you guys should go and watch the part 1 video to get an understanding of what JavaScript objects are. That part in that video was completely clear. So that would be helpful. But here, I'm just going to define two things. First of all, I'm going to define a constant of how many rows I want in my code. So I'm saying 11. For now, I'm putting it to be 11. And similarly, I'm defining another constant of how many columns I want in my game. And that's also 11. Okay. So these two things I'm defining. And after this, what we are going to do is, we are going to create a cell class. So we did this in the last part as well. So I'm going to create a class called cell. So cell is a template of what these objects are going to look like. What data is going to be stored in each of these cells, and what they're going to look like. It's going to be a template of that. What I mean by template is, like, you have a cookie cutter, right? When you bake cookies, when you cut cookies, or when you bake something, you have some molds in which you pour the batter, and then the batter takes the properties of the mold, right? When you bake a cake or when you make cookies, So with one cookie cutter, you can make multiple cookies of similar properties, right? So what we are creating right now is a cookie cutter for our grid cells. Okay, that each cookie cutter can tell you that your cookie is going to have this size in diameter, these patterns. Similarly, here the cell class is going to define how each of my cell object is going to look like. It's going to be a template for my cell objects. Okay, cool. So yeah, why did I make the boxes invisible? Because they are going to be the source of my grid. You will see in the code that why I needed to make them invisible. So now I'm creating a cell. Now to define a class, to define the properties in a class, there is one function that needs to be there in it. It's called a constructor function. So you write constructor followed by a pair of round brackets followed by a pair of curly brackets. And inside the curly brackets, you define what properties are going to be there for my class. And all those properties are going to be preceded by this word, this dot. All the properties is going to have this name, this dot, and then the name of the property. So let's say I want my cell to, one second, sorry, my mic is, yeah, so if I'm clear, I'm just going to check if my audio is clear. My video is frozen. Wow, you should. One second, guys, I'm just fixing my camera. So I'm just going to remove my, fine, I'm just going to delete this and I'm going to add another video. So sorry, let me just adjust this thing. This is good. Okay, cool. So I think I need to be on the other side. I am so sorry about this. Just one second. This should be fine, right? Okay, cool. So yeah, we need filters, chroma, similarity. First, I need to be in focus. That. Okay, so I'm back in focus. By God, I'm sweating like hell. I'm so sorry. Okay. Yeah. Cool. I'm back, and let's continue our code. So this dot, and then followed by this dot, we are going to give the name of the property. So let's say every cell needs an x position. So this dot x is going to be the name of my x property. This dot y, every cell needs a y position. Okay, but how are we going to define the x and y position of our cell? For that, whenever we are creating a cell, we are going to give some inputs. So we are going to give two inputs, and I'm just going to give them temporary names of u and v here. Oh yes, somebody. Yeah. Obviously, my voice would be echoing. Sorry. Ah, too many things to take care of while the streams are happening, so things are missed. Sorry. Uh, yeah. So now this dot x, this dot y. So how do we define? How are we going to tell our cell what is going to be its x and y position? To do that, whenever we are creating a cell, whenever we are creating a box, we are going to give two inputs inside them. So to take inputs, just like you give inputs in a function, inside the round brackets you write the input names. So I'm giving it two names, u and v, and I can say that this dot x is going to be equal to u, and this dot y is equal to going to be v. Okay, and let's say every cell is going to have a bomb property. So we are not going to say all the cells are going to have a bomb. Okay, we are going to say, let's say 50% of the boxes have a bomb. So how do we do that? I'm going to use a math.random function. So math.random function generates a random number between 0 and 1. It will always generate a random number between 0 and 1. And I can say, if math.random I know why it's paused. Damn it. This is so embarrassing. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. One second, guys, I'm so sorry. Cool. So we are back here uh, again. So video capture device, okay. See, my desktop scam link 4K. This oops. I made a silly mistake. My OBS is not responding. Okay, so it's responding now. First of all, I need a display capture for my desktop. Yep, this is perfect. And now I need what? I need a video capture device. Actually, can we do without the video? I'm just going to try this video thing one last time. Okay. So video is not working. Fine, let's do without the video for now. Okay. I'm going to show you guys everything here. So let's do without the video, and yeah, everybody is asking about can we use math.floor and those things. Yeah, we can. Well, let's come to that. So yeah, I hope my audio is clear here, right? I'm going to not use my camera for the time being. All right. So what we were saying was, if math.random is less than 0.5, so math.random is going to generate a random number between 0 and 1. And if that random number is less than half, so there is a 50% chance that my cell, there is a 50% chance that it's going to be less than half, and there's a 50% chance it's going to be greater than half, obviously. So we are saying there is a 50% chance that this dot bomb. So I'm going to define a bomb property that I'm going to tell it true. If math.random is less than 0.5, then this dot bomb is true, else this dot bomb is false. So now approximately half of my boxes, I've stopped my camera. So if somebody is thinking that my video is not showing, then ignore that. Just follow my mouse. Okay, and I'm just saying here that if math.random is less than 0.5, then let the box contain a bomb by making this dot bomb property of the cell true, and else make the bomb property false, this dot bomb to be false. Okay, now when this happens, now let's create our cells. Okay, so I'm going to define a for loop. For let I is equal to 0, I will go from 0 to number of rows, so I less than rows, and I plus plus, and for inside this we are going to say another for loop, let I is equal, let j is equal to 0, j less than columns, j plus plus. Okay, why are we doing this is because I'll show you. So if I go to my whiteboard here, okay, so we were creating grids, right? We were creating a grid of boxes, and to create a grid of boxes we have 1, 2, let's say we have a 5 cross 3 grid of box. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 columns and 3 rows. And then we will have similar boxes here. Okay, so we have this grid is 5 cross 3. Basically it has 5 columns and 3 rows. Okay, so this is column 0, this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and this is column 0, this is row 0, 1, and 2. What this means is that I can define the index of this box here as x0, y0. I can define the index of this box as sorry, my bad, x0, y1, 0, 2, 0, 3, and then this is 0, 4. Okay, and then similarly I can say this box can be defined by index 1, 0. It's 1 position down and 0 position here. So now we have 1, 1, 1, 2, so on. Okay, now a combination of these two numbers here, rows and columns, can define the position of a box. Like this box is in the first row and the first column. This box is in the second column and first row. Okay, cool. So that's how we are going to be defining. So to do that, we have number of rows here, and we have number of columns here, and what we are doing is we are going to go through a for loop where I goes from 0 to number of rows, and while I'm going through this for loop, I'm going to go through another for loop inside of it that creates columns. So basically I'm saying for I is equal to 0, create cells, go for this nested for loop. So when I is 0, j is going to go from 0 to number of columns, and then I will become 1, and then j is again going to go from 0 to number of columns, and that is going to repeat till I goes till 10. Number of rows is 11, so I will go from 0 to 10, and j will also go from 0 to 10. So now for all of these I and j, I'm going to say create cells. So let cell is equal to so now that you have defined a template, a class here, how do we create objects from it? You create an object by defining by using this word new and then the name of the class, the new cell, and then you give it input values. So I know that in my constructor function it needs 2 input values, and what are those 2 input values going to be? They are going to be, see, what were these u and v going to be? These u and v were going to be the x and y position, and we know that the x and y position can be defined by these I and j values as we are moving forward. So I am just going to say new cell I comma j. So what this will do is, this u is going to take the value of I, and this v is going to take the value of j. As it's creating new cells, the u and v property is going to accept new values. So when I is 0, j is 0, u, v is 0, and a new cell is created at 0, 0. When I is 0, j is 1, then u is 0 and v is 1. So a new cell is going to be created at x0, y1. Got it? So that's how we are creating new cell. Now, if I run the script, nothing is going to happen. See, my screen still remains blank because, see, we created these cells. We created a lot of new cells, but those cells are stored in our computer's memory. We are visual beings. We need to see stuff, right? So we need to see. There is nothing here that is showing you if a cell is created. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a function that will show me a cell. So I'm going to to create a function for a class, you just write the name of the function. My function's name is show, a pair of round brackets, a pair of curly brackets, and inside the curly brackets you write what is supposed to happen in the function. So what we are going to do now, now you will see why I created so now you will see why I made the original box invisible, because for each of these cells that I'm going to create, I'm going to clone the original box and show it. So I'm going to go to utilities, I'm going to click on clone object, I'm going to delete this extra code. So I just need hatch.clone object, and clone what? Clone box. So because all the grids that all the cells that I'm going to show is going to be a clone of the original box. So that is why I did not need the original box to be visible. So I made the original box invisible. Okay, cool. So clone a new box, and I told you guys last class as well, I'll tell you this time as well, when you're using a class as an object to create an object, you do not use the word function inside of it. So to define a function inside a function, there is another notation called arrow notation. So I just a pair of round brackets with input values followed by this arrow and then curly bracket. This also works as another definition of a function. Okay, so this is equivalent to defining, this is equivalent to saying the function keyword here. But since it's inside a class, we cannot use this notation, so we have to use this equal to arrow notation. Okay, so I clone an object, and then what do I say? So now this object's name, we need to store it somewhere. So I'm going to create another property in my constructor called this.o or this.obj. I'm not going to give it any value. A property is created. Now that property is going to get a value here. So this.obj is equal to cloned object. So I can refer to the box inside my grid using its obj property. Okay, so now this.obj is clone object, and clone object.setX to what? To this.x. We are telling it we are storing these properties for a reason. These properties are going to be used for everything that we do for a cell. So the clone object is going to be set at x this.x, and clone object.set y will go to this.y. Okay, and remember the original box is not visible, so we we want this new clone object to be visible. So we have to set clone object dot set visible to true. And let's run the script again. Okay. But you see nothing happened here again. Why? Because this is a function that is created. This show is a function created inside a class. So like for every cell we are creating, every cell is going to have this show function inside of it. Now we have to call that function. So how do we call a function created inside a class? So we use the object name. So right now when a cell is created, its object name is what? Cell, C-E-L-L, small c-E-L-L. Capital C-E-L-L is the template's name. So here I say small c-E-L-L dot, then I write the name of the function. This is how I access the properties of my object inside using the dot parameter. Object name dot, then parameter name or function name, and you get its properties values. So cell.show, so every time a new cell is going to be created, its show function is going to be executed. What it means is every time a new cell is created in the code's memory, it will clone a box and show the box at that X and Y position for you to see that as the grid, as the cell. So if I run the script now, you will see that I have a grid of boxes. Okay, see? Now it's very simple. I want the grid to be centered. So what I'm going to do is I have it number of rows, number of columns. I'm going to move them all I'm going to shift the X position of each of these cells by rows divided by 2, and the Y position of each of the cell by columns divided by 2. Okay. Now I'm going to run the script and you will see my grid has centered. See? Cool. Now one more thing. I want to reduce the gaps. So somebody asked me at the beginning, what numbers? Ashwarya, Asawri is asking a question of what are those numbers for? Which numbers are you indicating, Asawri? Tell me and I'll explain that. Okay. For now, so somebody asked me initially, why did I make the boxes size 0.45? Yeah. And I told you guys that because I wanted each cell size to be 0.5. But right now, these are all 1 meters wide. Every cell is 1 meter wide. I do not want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable called scale. And I will tell it its value to be 0.5. Now this scale value is going to control the spacings between my boxes here. Okay. So all I have to do is to manipulate the spacing between my these boxes. I can just multiply their X and Y positions with the scale parameter, SCL. And I do the same thing here as well. So here, multiply it with SCL. Let me prettify the whole thing. And so now when I run the script, you see my so I was coding in line number 8 and 9. Somebody asked me where was I coding. I was coding in line number 8 and 9. I was doing this. I added a scale parameter here, and then I multiplied the X and Y position with the scale parameter to reduce the spacing between my grid. Okay. Cool. Okay. Awesome. So now that this property is done, let's define the click. So when I click on a grid, what happens? Remember, we defined 2 things. Either it has a bomb or it does not have a bomb. If it has a bomb, then game over. Let's do this much. So if one cell has a bomb, it will show me all the cells that have a bomb. So first of all, let's do this simple. Inside this show property, we are going to add another event for our, we are going to add a click event for our boxes. So I go to my cursor property here, look at my mouse pointer, cursor, on click at object, okay? So this function is inserted here, and here on click at which object? Click at this clone object, okay? And I told you we do not want the function keyword here, so we replace that with equal to an arrow. So now what happens when a cursor clicks on any of these boxes? Okay, so we say if this dot bomb, if this cell has a bomb, then do what? Then clone object, for now let's do this, clone object dot set color to red. Okay, so I have this, so we did this. Okay, we added a cursor on click at object event from here, cursor panel, click at object, and we removed the function keyword from here and replaced that with this arrow notation. And inside this we said if the cell has a bomb, then color that box red. Okay, now I run this and let's see. When I click, see, whichever box I'm clicking, if it has a bomb, it turns red. Okay, but what we want to do is we want that the moment you click on a cell that has a bomb, it should show all the cells that has bombs. Okay, so to do that we have to go through all the cells, but we are not storing the cells anywhere. So first let's store our cells in an array. So I'm defining a cells array, cells, that is an empty array. Okay, oh, those are line numbers. Savri, those are line numbers. No, she said that her name is Indrila. Those are line numbers. These are line numbers. Okay, so now, yeah, what did we do? We said we created an empty array, let cells. Okay, and what we are doing here is now the moment we are creating a new cell, after showing the cell, I'm going to add that in my cells array. So to add an element in an array, you use the push function, array name, and then dot push, followed by a pair of round brackets. And inside the round brackets, you write the name of the object that you want to add in the array. So I'm writing cell. So if I run this now all of these boxes are in my cells array now. How will this be helpful? This will be helpful here. So what we can do is if I click on a box that has a bomb, then now I can just say I can go through a for loop for all of these cells and see which one has a bomb and reveal all of them. So I can just say for let C of cells. So to iterate through all the elements of a cell, you can just you can go use that let I is equal to 0, I less than cells dot length, I plus plus. This will also and then do something for cells I, right? This is how you can iterate through an element, all the elements of a cell of an array. But there is a shorter way to do it. I can just say let a temporary variable name C of cells. So C is going to go through all the elements of the cell array in itself. Okay, and what? So if what? If there is a bomb in this C object, so the cells array is made up of what? Is made up of cell objects, multiple cell objects, right? And if we are giving each of the cells a temporary name C, then the C, if those C objects have a bomb, how do we check if they have a bomb? So we are giving them a name C, then all I have to do is, just like we created this cell.show name.function, similarly name.property. So what is the temporary name of my object? C. Dot property is bomb. If C.bomb is equal to true, okay, but we don't have to write double equal to true. If we simply just write if C.bomb, it takes it to be if C.bomb is equal to true, then what? Then the obj object inside that C cell, okay, that means C.obj is the box's name dot set color. See, we can't use cloned object every time. Cloned object is a temporary name, right? Because cloned object is only defined inside this clone function, not outside of it. And right now we are trying to find out all the cells in which we have in which there is a bomb or not. So we cannot use this clone object name. That is why at the beginning we said this.obj is equal to clone object. So now for any cell object, the obj properties is the name of this cloned object. Okay, so that is why I can just say c.obj, and that is the name of the box of the cell C. Okay, and we are going to say dot set color to what? To red. And I am going to delete this line of code from here. Now you will see if I run the script, what's going to happen is the moment I click on a cell that has a bomb, it opens up all the cell that has a bomb. Okay, good. So hoping that you guys have followed till here. Okay, now comes the good part. Now comes the easy part. So we have added all of our cells in an array. We are showing all the cells here. Now what we are going to do? So see, what were we doing? When we click on the box, on a box, if it has a bomb, then reveal all the bombs. That's what we did right now. Okay. See, C is a temporary variable. C is a variable name. Okay. I can just say, I can call it give it whatever name I want. Let box, yeah, let box of cells, or let B of cells, or I can do whatever. I can do let ABC of cells. So cells is an array, okay, and cells is an array of cell objects. Okay, we are creating these multiple a grid of cells, grid of cell objects here, right? So when we are creating a grid of cell objects here, we are adding them all in the cells array. And this is just one way of going through a for loop through all the elements of one array. So what you do is you give a temporary name, and this temporary name is going to be assigned to each of the elements of the array one by one. Okay, that's how this loop runs. So when I say let ABC of cells, then all I have to do is, so each of these ABC is a cell object, is this object. So they have this obj property, they have this bomb property, they have its own x and y property. Those properties are available in each of these ABC objects. So all I am checking is, if the abc.bomb property is true, then abc.obj.setColor. ABC is the name of the object. Uske andar you have .obj as the name of the box, and uska you're setting the color to red. So that's what you're doing here. Okay, cool. So that's done. So we defined if it has a bomb, then show all the bombs. Okay, but what happens when it does not have a bomb? That is a very tricky part, and that is, trust me, 2-second thing, and the moment you realize what's happening, it's so easy to do. So else के अंदर क्या करना है? Else के अंदर we are going to say define a function, okay, and I'm going to say this dot reveal. So else perform the, so जैसे यहाँ पे मैंने show, there is a show property here, there is a show function I created. I'm going to create another property in my, another function in my cell class, and I'm going to call it, what am I going to call it? Reveal. Okay, so what I'm saying here is if it does not have a bomb, then perform this reveal function, okay, for this cell. So now it's easy. So if it does not have a bomb, then what I can do is, first of all, let's make our distinguish our cell in a way. So I'm going to say this dot obj dot set opacity. Set opacity to what? 0.4. Let's do 0.4, and I'm going to make it a bit thinner. So I'm going to make it, just for my sake, this dot obj dot set scale Z. So this dot obj is my object's name, and now I'm just using set opacity, set scale Z, those functions that you have in the left side of your hatch window, to 0.4 as well. Okay, now let's see if this much works or not. So now what should be happening is, we create lots of cells. When I click on any of these, see, this one did not have a bomb, so it did what? It went a bit transparent and became a bit thinner. See, the ones that do not have a bomb, they are easy. I mean, when you click on them, they become a bit thinner. Okay, I think my lights are a bit messed up. Let me go to my light here, and I'm going to position my light at my player's position. So 0, 0, and 5 will be good to see. Okay, so now let's run the script. Yeah, so I click, see, perfect. So when I click, I can see that the ones that do not have a bomb are becoming a bit transparent. So after this, what do we do after this? We are going to do something. We are going to count. So remember our activity here? Yeah. So if it does not have a bomb, we count its neighbors. How many bombs are there in the neighbors? And I want you guys to tell me this. So see, here, let's say this, let's create a new grid here. So what I'm going to do is, if this has I, j, okay, it's index, then the 8 cells surrounding it, can you guys tell me what are going to be the I, j value for these boxes? See, this is I, it means I goes here. So I, my bad, I is X and J is the Z, Y position, okay? So when you go up, Y reduces, right? So this box is going to be I, j minus 1. This box is going to be I, j plus 1. When you go left, I will reduce. So I minus 1, j plus 1. This is going to be the index of this. This is going to be I plus 1, j plus 1. This is going to be I, so j plus 1, I. Okay, so on. Just see. And this one is I minus 1, j minus 1. This is I plus 1 and j minus 1. Okay, this is I plus 1 and j, and this is I minus 1 and j. Okay, so what we are doing is basically for any cell with I comma j, what we are doing is we are going to say go from I minus 1 to I plus 1 and go from j minus 1 to j plus 1. That will give you a loop of 9 objects. Loop through those 9 objects. That will, so you will basically do a small loop inside yourself as well. That's okay. I mean, you can ignore that if you want to. You can avoid that if you want to. But see, this is what I do. So I say for let a is equal to minus 1, a less than equal to 1, a plus plus. And inside this, I write another for loop of let b is equal to minus 1, b less than equal to 1, and b plus plus. So now, see, what will these two for loops do? These two for loops are going to iterate your a and b values from minus 1 to 1. A is going to go from minus 1, 0 and 1. And for each of those, b is also going to go from minus 1 to 1. Yeah? So minus 1, 0, 1, minus 1, 0, 1. And now what we can do is we can define two new variables. Let x1 is equal to, now where were we saving this u and v value? We were not saving it anywhere. So let's create two new properties. This dot I is equal to u and this dot j is equal to v. Yeah, because those u and v are the I and j values that we are transferring from here. Yeah, so now all we can do is we can say let x1 is equal to this dot I plus a, and let y1 is equal to this dot j plus b. So see, when a is minus 1, b is minus 1, your x1 and y1 are what? I minus 1, j minus 1. When a is minus 1, b is 0, then your x1 and y1 are what? I minus 1 and j. So I minus 1, j minus 1, I minus 1, j. You see, we are basically going to loop through all of these 9 elements by using this nested for loop. Okay, and now what we are going to do is, first of all, see, I remember I told you guys one condition that for my top down, for the top two, for this top row here, top row, top column, left column, right column, top row and bottom row. Okay, these do not have 8 boxes surrounding them. These have less than 8 boxes surrounding them. So what do we do for them? It's simple, very simple case. So see, if you are, let's say, on this box, then what do you have? You don't have, so I minus 1 does not exist, j minus 1 does not exist, right? So all you have to do is keep this x1 and y1. See, I is what? I is 0 to 10 and j is also going from 0 to 10, right? So I cannot be negative and I cannot be greater than the number of rows. And similarly, j cannot be negative and j cannot be greater than the number of columns. So that is the condition that you just put here. If x1 is greater than or equal to 0 and x1 less than the number of rows. Yes, and similar condition for y1. y1 greater than or equal to 0 and y1 less than number of columns. So if this is satisfied, if this condition is satisfied, so what happens is, if this condition is satisfied, then let's count the number of bombs. Okay, so how do we count the number of bombs? We just are going to say, so see, when I'm going to show you something. Let's say we created these 15 boxes and we are going to add them in my cell array. So first I is 0. Okay, I is 0, and you went through all the 5 J's. So I is 0, then J is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is the index of their boxes in the cells array. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the next box is created here with I1, J0. This is going to be added as the next element in your cells array, in the cells array. Okay, this. So how do we find out the one index value? So what's happening? Okay, so what's happening here is you need to create one index value from I and J. How do we get the index value of your cells array? So that is going to be x times, just take it for, I'll tell you how this comes. It's simple math, it's basic arithmetic, but you can just say cells, then x1 times columns plus y1. That will give you its index in the cell. That will give you these cell indexes, the indices of these cells in the cells array. Okay, x1 multiplied by columns plus y1. So what I do is I just say for that, so if c.bomb, if cells x1 multiplied by columns plus y1 dot bomb, if it has a bomb, then this dot count plus plus. Okay, and what we are going to do is we are going to create another property here called this dot count, and we are going to keep it at -1 initially here. So I'll tell you why we are creating. If you keep it at 0, then we'll come to that. So initially we are keeping the count to be at -1. Okay, and we are only going to reveal this if the count is -1. So if this dot count equal to -1, basically it means that the box has not been revealed yet. We are using it as a, yeah, so I'm putting this whole thing inside this. So I'm saying the reveal function will work only if the count is initially is equal to -1. It means that, because what I'm going to do is when I click on a box, I'm going to change its count value. So now if I click on the box again, because the count value has changed from -1 to something else, right? Because its count value has changed, so this if condition will not be true anymore. So an already revealed cell does not need to be revealed again and again. Okay, cool. So we are going to do this. So if count is equal to this, then we reveal and we increase the count here. So here we are increasing the count. We are going through all of our going through all of our 9 neighbors and increasing our counts. So if the count is increased, so after this for loop now, so now we have if this dot count is greater than 0, then remember what did we discuss here? If count is greater than 0, then show a number in the box. So now what do? Remember we showed we had this text2d object. All we have to do is clone and display there. So utilities, clone object, delete all of this, and you have text2d is what you're cloning. I don't need the function keyword. I need an arrow notation. Okay, and here what I'm going to do is, so what does this need? So this needs, again, so set x to this dot x and clone object dot set y to, it won't be exactly this dot y, because see here in our design mode, when the box's position is 0, 0, 0, then the text appears at the center if the text's position is minus 0.16. So for all the boxes, its y position is going to be displaced by minus 0.16. So here I say this dot y minus 0.16. And remember, we have to make it visible. So clone object dot set visible to true. And then what? We have to also set the text inside. Set text to this dot count. Okay, and let's see, have we defined this dot count above? Yeah, we have defined this dot count. Cool. So this works. Let's see if this works or not. So run the script, and then see, yep. When I click, I can see, so see, if I click on this, what number should be displayed? 4. Huh? 1. Oh, yeah. Because remember, I'm starting the count at -1, but when I'm showing the count here, I need to reset my count to 0, because it will otherwise always keep showing one number less. So this dot count is equal to 0. Run the script, and now we'll see the correct numbers. Yes, see, so if I click here, now I should see 3. If I click here, it should say 1. If I click here, it should say 0. But yeah, we are saying that if the count is greater than 0, only then show a text. Because for 0, we don't need to show a text here. What we need to do is we need to open up all these surrounding boxes. So we are going to write the logic for that now. But you get the idea of seeing the numbers displayed correctly here, how we are calculating how many numbers are going to be displayed. Yeah, good. So now what we're going to do is one last thing, that is expanding for other numbers. Yeah, expanding for 0. So here, if this dot count is greater than 0, then show a text. Okay, yeah, I know it's 8:20. I just need 5 more minutes. So if this dot count is greater than 0, then show a text. Actually, would it be okay if I continue this in the next session now? We have 3 things left. We have what happens in 0. Then I also need to show you guys how to do a game setting of basically setting up how many bombs you want in the arena, and then you need how to restart and game over, how to show scores, so in the original Minesweeper game, you could, if you figured out that this box has a bomb, then you can add a flag here so that you don't click on it. So how to add those properties? Okay, so would it be okay if I continue that in the next session 2 weeks later on from today? If that's okay with you guys, or we can continue right now as well. Cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to publish this project as Minesweeper TV part 1. I'm just going to call it part 1 for now. Okay. And I'm going to publish this, and I'm going to send the link of this project to all of you. All right. So now what you guys can do from your side is practice this. Yeah, so practice this, and in the next session we are going to continue from here itself. I'm going to do a very small revision. Today what I did was I taught basically everything that I taught in part 1. So we are not going to be doing that again in the next part. In the next part, I'm just going to continue from here, and I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you guys how how everything works from this point onwards. Cool. So I have sent you guys the link. Open up the link, learn from it as well, and we will continue in the next session. Cool. So I continued for 1 hour 20 minutes. I'm sorry about that. See you guys 2 weeks after this. Bye bye.